Story 1 of 9. US troop withdrawal from Germany sparks political and NATO concerns. US troop withdrawal from Germany sparks political and NATO concerns. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Pentagon announced the withdrawal of 5,000 US troops from Germany, expected to be completed over the next 6 to 12 months. The withdrawal represents about 14% of the 36,000 US troops stationed in Germany, leaving roughly 30,000 to 31,000 troops behind. Republican lawmakers Senator Roger Wicker, Mississippi, and Representative Mike Rogers, Alabama, issued a joint statement expressing concern about the troop withdrawal, calling it reckless and urging coordination with Congress and allies. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz criticized U.S. negotiations with Iran, stating Iran was humiliating the U.S. and questioning the U.S. exit strategy, which triggered Trump's response. The withdrawal follows a thorough review of the department's force posture in Europe by the Pentagon, citing theater requirements and conditions on the ground. But not all outlets told the same story. The ABC states the withdrawal leaves 36,000 troops in Germany, while The Guardian and SMH imply the number is closer to 30,000 to 31,000 after the reduction. The ABC reports Trump threatened withdrawal earlier this week after Merz's comments, while The Guardian and SMH specify the threat came on Saturday, May 3, 2026. The ABC mentions a brigade of 5,000 troops being withdrawn, but The Guardian and SMH do not explicitly confirm the brigade's size or structure. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 2 of 9. Deadly hantavirus outbreak on cruise ship MV Hondius in Atlantic Ocean. Deadly hantavirus outbreak on cruise ship MV Hondius in Atlantic Ocean. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The cruise ship MV Hondius, operated by Oceanwide Expeditions, is a Dutch-flagged polar expedition vessel carrying 147 passengers and crew. 3 people have died from the hantavirus outbreak, a Dutch couple, 70 and 69 years old, and a German national, 80 years old. 8 confirmed or suspected cases of hantavirus have been reported, with 5 confirmed cases as of May 2026. The ship departed from Ushuaia, Argentina, on April 1, 2026, and was originally heading to Cape Verde. The ship was denied docking permission in Cape Verde due to the outbreak and is now heading to Tenerife, Canary Islands, Spain. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report that the ship has 147 passengers and crew, while some sources mention 149 people on board, including the body of the deceased. The Guardian states that the ship's captain initially attributed the first death to natural causes, but the ABC and other sources do not mention this detail. The ABC reports that the ship's voyage was 34 days long, while The Guardian and other sources mention a 35-day voyage. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 3 of 9. Julie Bishop resigns as ANU Chancellor amid governance crisis. Julie Bishop resigns as ANU Chancellor amid governance crisis. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Julie Bishop resigned as ANU Chancellor on May 8, 2026, 7 months before her term was due to end in December 2026. Bishop was appointed ANU Chancellor in 2020 and her term was originally set to expire in December 2023, later extended to December 2026. Bishop cited unprecedented and coordinated interference by the Tertiary Education Quality and Standards Agency, TEQSA, as the reason for her resignation, stating the ANU Council is no longer able to discharge its legal and ethical obligations. TEQSA intervened in the selection process for Bishop's replacement, requiring an independent panel to appoint the next Chancellor instead of the University Council. Vice-Chancellor Genevieve Bell resigned in September 2025, less than 2 years into her 5-year term, following the collapse of the Renew ANU cost-cutting plan. But not all outlets told the same story. The ABC and SMH state Bishop's resignation was effective immediately, while Newscomau and Guardian do not specify the exact timing of her departure. SMH and Thege claim Bishop's office in Perth cost $800,000 annually to run, But Newscomau, ABC, and Guardian do not mention this detail. SMH and Thege describe Bishop's tenure as catastrophic and ignominious, while Newscomau and Guardian frame her resignation as a step toward rebuilding trust. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 4 of 9. Australia's $387 million CSIRO funding boost amid ongoing job cuts and advocacy. Australia's $387 million CSIRO funding boost amid ongoing job cuts and advocacy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Albanese government announced an additional $387.4 million in funding for CSIRO over 4 years, on top of its existing $1 billion annual funding. CSIRO plans to cut up to 350 jobs despite the new funding, with cuts already underway since November 2025. CSIRO has already cut over 800 positions in the past 2 years, including 850 cuts in February 2024 and 350 announced late 2025. Federal Science Minister Tim Ayres stated the funding aims to ensure CSIRO can meet long-term costs and maintain workforce stability. The funding includes an additional $38 million annually from 2030 to 31 for the Australian Centre for Disease Preparedness in Geelong. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the $387.4 million funding is on top of CSIRO's existing $1 billion annual funding, while the ABC mentions an existing allocation of almost $1 billion without specifying the exact figure. The Guardian implies the funding may avoid further job cuts, while the ABC states CSIRO will persist with up to 350 job cuts despite the funding. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 5 of 9. Billionaire Anthony Pratt's influence, wealth, and political connections in Australia and the US. Billionaire Anthony Pratt's influence, wealth, and political connections in Australia and the US. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Pratt owns Australia's largest packaging and recycling company, Vicey, with annual sales of $4 billion Australian dollars and 7,000 plus employees across Australia. Pratt is the sole owner of Vicey's US offshoot, Pratt Industries, which employs over 12,000 people in 25 US states and is the largest individually owned manufacturing company in America. Pratt hosted a party at Mar-a-Lago in November 2025 with 700 guests, including President Donald Trump, who sat with him for 1.5 hours. Pratt has donated millions to Trump's political campaigns and pledged billions to boost US manufacturing. Pratt employs former Australian Prime Ministers Paul Keating, $25,000 per month, and Tony Abbott, $8,000 per month, as consultants, and former Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews. But not all outlets told the same story. Both sources are identical, so no contradictions exist between them. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 6 of 9. Missing Victorian hiker Samuel Whitsed feared lost on WA's Bibbulmun track. Missing Victorian hiker Samuel Whitsed feared lost on WA's Bibbulmun track. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Samuel Robert Whitsed, 27, is a missing Victorian man last seen on February 18, 2026, near Armadale, Perth's southeastern fringe, heading toward the Bibbulmun track. Whitsed was last seen wearing black trousers, a light-coloured t-shirt or jumper, and sandals, ABC, or slides, Newscomau Guardian. A green tent linked to Whitsed was found at Canning Hut, about 3 to 4 hours hike from Brookton Highway, on April 23, 2026, prompting a 9-day search, April 28 to May 7, by police, rangers, and volunteers. Police describe Whitsed as 170 to 180 centimeters tall, slim-medium build, with short brown hair, a beard, and moustache. WA Police Senior Sergeant Rob Lewis stated the case is a welfare concern and urged the public to check sheds along the track for Whitsed. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC says Whitsed was last seen wearing sandals, but Newscomau and Guardian say he was wearing slides. ABC and Newscomau describe Whitsed's last seen clothing as a light-colored t-shirt or jumper, but Guardian specifies a red t-shirt or light-colored jumper, implying red as a possible color. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 7 of 9. One Nation's rise in FAR by-election threatens Liberal Party, sparks political upheaval. One Nation's rise in FAR by-election threatens Liberal Party, sparks political upheaval. Here's what every outlet agrees on. One Nation won the FAR by-election in rural NSW, with an independent candidate finishing second and the Liberals third. The seat of FAR has only ever been held by the Liberals or Nationals since its creation in 1949. Liberal Susan Ley won the seat of FAR in the 2025 election, specific margin not provided in both sources. One Nation previously ranked second in the March 2026 by-election in Queensland, where Labour won and the Liberals placed third. Liberal MP Barnaby Joyce defected from the coalition to One Nation in 2025. But not all outlets told the same story. Neither source provides a specific margin of victory for Susan Ley in the 2025 election, so no numerical contradiction exists. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 8 of 9. Analysis of the Iron Maiden documentary * Burning Ambition * and the band's legacy. Analysis of the Iron Maiden documentary * Burning Ambition * and the band's legacy. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Steve Harris founded Iron Maiden in 1975 and is the only member to remain in the band for its entire 50-year history. The documentary features interviews with famous fans including Metallica's Lars Ulrich and Kiss's Gene Simmons. Iron Maiden's 1984 trip to Poland during communist rule, when heavy metal was banned, is highlighted as a significant chapter. Bruce Dickinson's departure from the band in 1993 is mentioned as a key lineup change. The documentary uses extensive archival footage and fan testimonials rather than modern interviews with the band. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian implies the documentary is corporately policed and controlled, while ABC describes it as a straightforward victory lap without such criticism. ABC notes the film does not deeply explore Dickinson's departure, while The Guardian briefly mentions it as part of the band's lineup changes without elaboration. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 9 of 9. One Nation candidate David Farley faces backlash for election eve gaffe in FAR by-election. One Nation candidate David Farley faces backlash for election eve gaffe in FAR by-election. Here's what every outlet agrees on. One Nation candidate David Farley made the remark, "You can see why he lost his job. I think about Dr. Lockie McKeeman during a candidates forum on Friday night, the 9th of May, 2026, at Beer Deluxe in Albury." Dr. Lockie McKeeman, a popular Albury doctor, has not worked at Albury Wodonga Health since late 2025 after receiving legal advice that his position was untenable due to public criticism of the hospital redevelopment. The by-election is for the seat of FAR, a coalition traditional rural stronghold, with nearly 50,000 voters, 40% of enrolled voters, having already cast their vote by Saturday, the 9th of May, 2026. Nationals leader Matt Canavan called for Farley and Pauline Hanson to apologize for the disrespectful remarks about Dr. McKeeman, stating David Farley should apologize to Lockie McKeeman. "He's a great doctor." Michelle Milthorpe, the community independent candidate, condemned Farley's comment as ignorant and insensitive and stated the issue is not a joke for Dr. McKeeman or affected families. But not all outlets told the same story. The Age mentions Farley had endorsed his rival candidate 12 months ago and publicly disagreed with Hanson's immigration policy, but this detail is not confirmed by SMH. The Age includes a quote from Liberal MP Risa Butkowski, but SMH does not mention her comment. The Age explicitly states Farley had a string of gaffes during the campaign, while SMH does not elaborate on this beyond the specific remark about Dr. McKeeman. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age.